안녕하세요 from Korea. Welcome to Next Muchim. Today we're cooking Naengi Muchim. Naengi is this type of root plant, and I'm going to use this root plant to make a very savory side dish that should go perfect with a bunch of other dishes I'm going to cook later. We're going to take this root, we're going to boil it, parboil it, or sort of blanch it. We're going to throw it into some cold water, and then we're going to sort of mix it with some common ingredients, sort of a bit of savory sesame seed. We've got some of my favorite, my new ingredient for the year, which is the Perilla powder, and we're going to mix it all up and create this lovely side dish. So let's begin. So my wife is Korean and I've lived in Korea for nearly half my life. On this channel I post a new Korean dish every week. I love finding these cool Korean ingredients like this naengi to use to cook a bunch of dishes, and this year in particular I'll be using a lot of these type of ingredients to cook side dishes. I want to get better at cooking all these great Korean dishes and foods. So look at our naengi. Now we've got to get rid of some of these leaves. They're a bit brown and we don't want that. It's going to ruin the taste. So take out a couple of them. Just make sure you look through and also give it a quick wash. They can be a bit gritty when you buy it in the store. So obviously if you're in another country where naengi is hard to get, I don't know how they, I don't know how it comes in the store. But in Korea, sometimes they have a bit of grit in them. Now we're going to boil them. Bit of salt in the water first. Get the water boiling in a shallow pan because we're going to boil this in a little bit of a different way. Put them in, poke them down. They're going to slowly start to soften, and after about a minute, flip it over. This will give a sort of mix of textures. You'll have some parts soft, some parts a little crunchier, and you'll find you get a bit of flavor. If you just put it all in the water together, it will cook in a very strange way and it won't turn out quite the same. Not for this type of dish at least. If you're doing the with spinach like you might have seen at one of my other videos, then yeah, that's okay. But this is just a bit of a different dish with different texture. Throw it in some cold water and then dry it off. Now you can actually let it dry for about 10 minutes because we want as much water out of it as possible. So try to let it dry for a little bit while you prepare the other ingredient that we need, which is the leek. Or you can use green onion or spring onion for this. Something's got a bit of flavor in it. To be honest, I think I cut these a little big for this, and if I did it again, I would cut these small. Or honestly, I might not even put them in. It was very tasty as it is. Cut it into smaller pieces just like I'm doing there. You can see how big those pieces are. And now put all those ingredients together, but you're going to hold off. Mix in the soy sauce and the ones I showed on the screen first. So mix them up. That's 4 of the ingredients we put in here. And we're going to add a couple of the other things after you've mixed it in, because you want that soy sauce to mix in well. Then put in your green onion or your leeks, as well as your perilla powder and your black sesame seeds with a little bit of salt. At this stage, you're going to need to taste it, because if it's too salty, honestly, if it's too salty, cook some more and then throw it in and sort of mix it all up. But if it's bland, you can add a tiny bit more salt to it. This was perfect how it is. So if you follow those the sort of measurements that I put on screen and in the sort of description below, then you'll be fine. Let's see how this tasted. Okay, we've cooked it. Let's eat it. Beautiful. Oh, I love naengi, and this is so tasty. Obviously using my Perilla seeds, Perilla Seed Powder, which is my new favorite ingredient, and it is delicious. Yeah, that's savory. Savory and tasty. The best side dish. Alright, I'm gonna eat this. I could eat all of this, honestly. I could just eat this now. Yeah, just eat it. Why not? Let's just eat it all. 안녕하세요 from Korea. Welcome to next matchup. Today we're making Dol-namul Muchim. Dol-namul is this plant, type of stone sort of plant. Dol is stone, and it has a very sekon dalkom flavor. That means sweet and sour in Korean. So we're going to make this. It's turning into what we call a side dish or banchan here in Korea. And in Korea, if you know anything about Korean food and Korean cooking, you know banchan and side dishes are very important. So I'm going to show you how to make this one. It's super easy, super fast, and it tastes great. Let's begin. Remember, all these side dishes that we're cooking today are super easy, so anyone can make them, and getting the ingredients shouldn't be too tough. Start by making a sauce. The sauce is the most important thing. It should be a little bit sort of vinegary, tangy sort of sauce, and definitely a little spicy. That's what you want with this lovely side dish. Look at that, there's the vinegar. So that's the one, that's the key to this. You need that vinegar to mix with the garlic and the red pepper, and it will just add to that sort of... The Stonecrop is a succulent, so it's like aloe, kind of. So it's got that soft sort of crunchiness. It just goes so well with a tangy red spicy sauce. When you're dealing with Stonecrop, or in this case the Dol-namul, you want to treat it very gently, or it'll fall off its little branches and you'll just get a bunch of the tiny little leaves. But that's not a bad thing, but those big pieces of branch that you sort of get, that's what makes the dish. So add a little bit of vinegar, softly mix it with some water, and then let it set for about 10 minutes. That'll just make sure it'll be ready for when we add our sauce to it, and it's not going to sort of all fall apart. Perfect, mix that in a little bit there, as you can see on the screen. Ooh, be careful. Now look, it's ready to go, so drain it off carefully once again. Nice in there, and once it's dry, let it sit for a little bit, just dry up some of the water to come off, because otherwise it's going to mix with your sauce and it's going to be a little bit too watery. So feel free to, if you have the time, just to let it sit for even just 10 to sort of 15 minutes. Then you're just adding the sauce and mixing it. Like I said, these are easy Korean side dishes. You make a sauce, you put it on, super simple. This is beautiful, red. Mix it up. Oh yes, look at that. So I've used, I don't know how many grams this is. Use more than I'm using if you like it, because I could eat all of that in one go. That's not a side dish for me, this is like a main dish salad. So this is actually my favorite banchan, my favorite side dish in Korea. The flavor is quite surprising. This might look like a strange plant, you know, sort of this stone plant, Dol-namul, but the flavor is excellent. It's soft, it's sort of crunchy, and when you add the vinegar and that sekon dalkom sweet, sour, spicy flavor to it, it's so good. It's so good. I can't say it like enough. It is just so tasty. I could eat this whole bowl of this. Oh no. Just like this. Let's move away from the green things and let's get something that's, well, I don't know what color that is, brown. Let's get mushrooms. These are Sesongi mushrooms, king oyster mushrooms. Now they come cooked, they've got this little bit here at the bottom. You don't want to cut all of it off because it's delicious, but just cut, see that bit that's sort of yellowy color? You don't like that. So maybe about half a centimeter you want to cut off there. Look, just like I'm doing here. And then tear apart those mushrooms so you've got nice, sort of evenly sized strips of mushroom. So pull them all apart. So you don't have to be exact. You don't want necessarily a bunch of small little mushrooms. Now some of them are bigger, so you can sort of break those up into smaller sets. I'm going to do this big guy into thirds. Nice. About all of them are roughly the same size. Look, perfect. give them a wash, as you should always do with mushrooms if you can. Nice dry, but it's not going to matter too much. Now, just cut our vegetables while that sits and dries for a little bit. Chop, 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 chop. These will fry up perfectly with our mushrooms later. And the red, you don't need to add peppers for this one, but I love adding the pepper in because a bit of the red color is just perfect for this dish. There's a lot of red peppers available fairly readily in Korea, so it's very common for us to use them as garnishes and even just to throw in a little bit of extra heat. Make sure you fry your mushrooms with the salt first. Now, we're doing this in a very special way, so pay attention. When the water comes out after about a minute, it's not long, take it off the pan and drain it. Then in the pan, same pan, but without the mushrooms, do your onions, your spring onions or leeks or whatever it is you're going to be using. Get that fried up with a bit of garlic. Make sure you don't burn the garlic. So just keep frying it until basically everything starts getting translucent in terms of the onions, and the garlic is almost about to burn, but not quite. At that point, you can add your mushrooms back in. That'll cool the pan down a little bit, which means the garlic won't burn. You can get everything mixed in. So the smell coming off of this is amazing. But we're not done. A little bit of soy sauce and oyster sauce. This is our seasoning. A little bit of black pepper. Now remember, we already seasoned the mushrooms with salt when we sort of not boiled them, but first cooked them. So they're already nice and sort of salty. This will just add to the flavor of the entire dish. This is perfect. Then the starch syrup. You don't have to use this, but it's very common in these types of dishes to make it nice and glossy and also thicken things up a little bit. So you get a slightly sort of thicker sort of sauce and coating on your mushroom and a bit of flavor. And it'll be a little bit sweeter too, but not too much. So use as much as you want, or even just skip it if you really don't like to add that sort of those extra calories. But look at that glossy color, beautiful. Now let's eat this. I think my wife is sleeping while I filmed this, so I'm not going to talk about eating the food, but trust me, it's really delicious. And when I eat it, I enjoy it. I don't know if it looks like that on my face, but it was really good. Alright, on to the next dish. This is the easiest side dish to make. If you can get spinach, grab the spinach and make up a lot of this, because you can actually use it for different Korean dishes like bibimbap or kimbap. Check out any of my recipes. I'll show you how to make it again in other videos, and you can add it to your dishes. 45 seconds in boiling water is all you need to make sure this is blanched correctly. Then wash them under cold water and squeeze the water out. Get rid of the extra water. You don't want a bunch of water in this because you're going to flavor it with other ingredients, and that water will make it a little bit runnier. You really don't want a bunch of water in there. Slice it up a little bit because you'll just be better when you're eating it, not smaller pieces. Then here we go. Bit of soy sauce. You can use salt instead. I sometimes do this with salt, and I like both of them. Sesame oil, and of course your garlic and sesame seeds. And you're done. And then you mix it up. Look, how easy was that? The title of this video is the easiest Korean side dishes, and this was so easy. And I like to say, hey, you gotta use your hands for this. If you're making it for yourself, use your hands. That's the rule. Don't be mixing up. You gotta mix it with your hands. Sonmat, we say in Korean. Sonmat. The flavor of the hand. And look at that. Oh, beautiful. It looks good and it tastes good. And as always, I should have made more because I could eat that in one go. So I hope you enjoyed those easy side dishes. Let me know in the comments below what your side dish is. And in the meantime, cook well and have a great day. 안녕히 계세요. Thanks for watching. Yum.